The corridors of Junction Station 8 were mostly empty at this hour. Lit by dim overhead lights that buzzed faintly with age, Tara Vex moved with purpose. Her bootsteps soft against the alloy plating. She kept one hand on her tool belt and the other on her modified neural interface buddy tucked into her inner pocket. Thumb brushing its rigid casing for reassurance. Docking Bay 5 loomed ahead, its heavy security doors sealed tight, but she had access, at least to the maintenance alcove adjacent to the airlock. As she keyed in her override code, she reminded herself this was just a scan, no breaking and entering. Yet, the access panel slid open with a hiss. Cool recycled air flowed past her as she stepped inside. Tara crouched by the docking ring and slipped Buddy into her palm. A quick flick and it powered on, emitting a soft hum only she could feel through her nerves. She adjusted the frequency modulator she'd installed earlier, aiming to tap into the glimmering ship's exterior systems. Its sleek hull shimmered under the bay lights, almost breathing. She pressed Buddy gently to the ship's surface. It should have resisted her probe, bounced her out with foreign encryption. But instead, the interface pulsed warm, open, inviting. A whisper brushed the edge of her mind. Not words, not thoughts, more like tones, resonant frequencies that made her chest tighten. Her fingers tingle. The ship wasn't rejecting her. It was recognizing her. A ripple passed through the hull. Soft blue light flowed beneath the surface like bioluminescence stirred by current. Then the airlock door unsealed. Tara jerked her hand back, heart pounding. She hadn't triggered that. She stood, tools clenched, eyes fixed on the now open entry. From within the vessel, a voice spoke. You should not be here, human. It wasn't a glimmerin', not one of the mocking trio. This voice was lower, smoother, tired, and amused. A tall figure stepped into the light. He was glimmerin'. Yes, same pale biotone skin and shimmering robes. But he stood differently, straighter, with none of the exaggerated bounciness she associated with their kind. His face, though still marked by those strange pin-like protrusions, was more solemn, more aware. And startlingly handsome, in a way that defied species. Your tool, he said, nodding to Buddy. It sings. Tara blinked. What? It does not speak in your words. It hums, and my ship hears it. He stepped closer, and she resisted the urge to backpedal. Who are you? She asked. I am Seln. This vessel is part of me, and now, part of you has touched it. Tara straightened. If you're the one sabotaging this station, I swear I am not, he interrupted calmly. But those you met earlier, the ones who mocked you, they serve others, not me. You're not. With them, I am captain of this vessel. They serve the surface. I dwell below it. She hesitated. Then why let them act that way? Because they are the distraction, Seln said. While I listen, while I look for a frequency that matches mine. She stared at him. You're looking for compatibility? He gave a small smile. Harmony. The lights within the ship flared brighter, then dimmed in a steady pulse, a rhythm, a beat. Your buddy, Seln continued, was not designed to find me, and yet it did. That is rare. Tara didn't know whether to feel flattered or threatened. I modified it. It connects to anything, almost anything. You gave it your signature, he said, stepping close enough now that she could see the fine iridescent veins under his skin. You shared your pattern, your tone, and the ship responded. Her voice was hoarse. Why does it feel like you're flirting with me? Because I am. Silence stretched between them. The blue pulse continued behind Seln, echoing the rhythm of a slow heartbeat. Tara swallowed. You still haven't answered the important part. What are you doing here? What are those things you left around the station? They are receivers, Seln said. Pieces of us, of the ship, planted to find resonance. Resonance for what? For this. He extended his hand. Tara looked at it. If I take it, she said slowly. What happens? You will hear the ship, Seln said, and the ship will hear you. Her instinct screamed to back away, to run. But something deeper, curiosity, maybe, or loneliness leaned forward instead. She placed her hand in his, a jolt. Not electric, not painful, like diving into warm water under starlight. The hull behind him shimmered. Then music, not from speakers, not from any one direction, but from everywhere. The ship was singing. It was her heartbeat, her breath, her thoughts, the hum of Buddy, the scream of her loneliness, all mirrored back in layered tones. Shifting harmonies. Tara staggered. Lane caught her. It is overwhelming at first, you think. She gasped, but even through the rush of sound, she could feel his presence grounding her. Not just physically, mentally. Emotionally. He looked into her eyes. We did not come here to conquer, Tara Vex. We came here to find someone who could make us whole. Why me? Because the ship chose you. Tara closed her eyes. The music surged, wrapped around her, spun through her veins, and in that moment, she didn't feel mocked, or obsolete, or human. She felt seen. And wanted. When she opened her eyes, Seln's hand was still in hers, the ship still hummed, and her heart, traitorous thing, beat in time. The terraforming vessel Ariane spiraled above the dry moon Icalion, its belly filled with seeds, moisture reclamation drones, and the last stubborn patches of human-designed chlorophyll systems. In the lowest maintenance ring, Ren worked alone. They preferred it that way. A stripped-down jumpsuit, grease-stained gloves, boots magnetized to the curved floor. The air here smelled faintly of ozone and fertilizer. Home, your oxygen sensors are uncalibrated again, said a soft voice from above. Ren sighed without looking up. I told them not to send anyone. I am not anyone. Came the response, lighter now. I am Vashi. They turned, suspended upside down by an anti-grav belt. A long-limbed alien figure descended slowly into view. Thin teal fur covered their face and hands, and their eyes shimmered with shifting coral tones. Vashi carried a bundle of grafted vines cradled against their chest like a sleeping pet. You're the xenobotanist, Ren muttered. Of course. The one they call in when the humans can no longer keep their plants alive, Vashi said brightly. Although, technically, I prefer coaxing them into survival rather than resuscitating them. Great. Ren muttered, returning to their circuit board. Try not to drip root gel on my capacitors. Vashi tilted their head. You don't like help, no. You don't like me. I don't know you. And yet, you're frowning. That happens when I have to reprogram the same autoseed relay 3 times in one shift. Vashi floated closer, gently placing the vine bundle beside Ren's workstation. Perhaps it is the system that is flawed, not the human. Ren paused. Did you just defend me? No, Vashi said, grinning. I insulted your design. Ren fought a smile. They spent the rest of the day rerouting the ship's growing systems, half arguing, half laughing, trading insults that slowly softened into banter. Vashi didn't mock Ren's analog methods, just asked questions, listened. And when Ren explained their custom temperature buffers, Vashi hummed in approval. You tune your circuits like I tune my root harmonics. Perhaps we're not so different. It was only later, when the gravity flickered and the two were flung together against a moss-lined wall, that the accidental closeness turned intentional. Breath mingled. Fingers hesitated. Then touched. Your heart, Vashi whispered, beats louder than the soil. That was the worst line I've ever heard, Ren whispered back. Then don't kiss me. Ren did, and somewhere deep in the nutrient lines of the Ariane, the vines began to bloom. The twin stars of the Celeris system bathed the diplomatic station Heavenreach in golden light, casting long spindled shadows through its crystalline corridors. In one of the quieter wings, Kessin adjusted the settings on her portable translator, again, trying to get it to register the subtle shifts in acoustic resonance from the visitor pacing before her. He wasn't just pacing, he was vibrating slightly with frustration. His name was Noro, a being from the Kelton Swarma race not known for personal dialogue or patience. Kessin, unfortunately, had both in abundance. I do not see the point in speaking words when you already know the decision, Noro said. His voice carried more through tone than language. Then let me understand your refusal, Kessin replied, adjusting the frequency on the translator until his echoes became clearer. If you deny the treaty, the irrigation satellites fail. If the satellites fail, your colonies will starve. He finished. We are not unaware of consequence, but we do not trade loyalty for survival. Kessin narrowed her eyes. Loyalty? To who, not who, Noro said. What? He tapped one of his gleaming antennae against the glass table. It produced a low chime, almost like a note. Sound, he said. The echoes are wrong. This station, this place, it sings the old song. The Imperial One. It was the first time he'd mentioned it aloud. The quiet suspicion she'd heard from other swarm envoys too, that Heavenreach, despite being neutral ground, carried echoes from its past life as a colonizer's outpost. Kessin folded her hands. You believe the station still remembers. We do not forget song. It wasn't superstition, it was cultural resonance. The Kelton swarm communicated through layered frequencies, storing memory in shared harmonics. And if the old frequencies still lingered, then the past still lived here for them. Then let me offer a new tone, she said carefully, not as a diplomat, as a composer. Noro tilted his head. You write sound, I repair it, rewrite it, sometimes with strings, sometimes with silence. Noro was silent a long time. Then, slowly, he said, play. Kessin took him to the acoustic chamber, once a performance hall, now forgotten. There, she unpacked her carbon wire harpan instrument tuned not by pitch, but by intention. She didn't play a song she knew. She improvised, watching him. One string, a low thrum. Another, a shiver of treble. Noro's antennae twitched. She matched that motion with dissonance, then softened. Matched again, listened. And then, for the first time since he entered the station, he sat. The harmonics shifted. He joined her, his body emitting layered tones, counterpoints. They played together. It wasn't just music. It was translation in real time. Ideas embedded in sound. Not we trust you, but we will sing new together. Not we forget the past, but we remember, but we rewrite. By the end, there was no treaty. There was understanding. Later, as the stars dimmed, Kessin and Noro stood beside the now humming diplomatic table. He touched her wrist lightly. Your harmony, he said, unusual. She smiled. Your resonance stubborn. Compliment, only if you come back. Noro blinked, then bowed. In swarm tradition, that meant more than an agreement. It meant, we will sing again. On the mining colony of Norset 7, built like a honeycomb into the side of a cobalt-rich asteroid, the days blurred together in artificial light and the hum of excavation. For Relo, an exosuit technician with a knack for obsolete tech, it was just another shift of welding patchwork repairs and dodging inspections. Until the new inspector arrived, she wasn't what he expected. Tall, with copper skin veined with pale circuitry tattoos. Her eyes glowed faintly in the low light of the suit bay, not from implants, but something else. Something quieter, older. She introduced herself as Ines. And you are, Relo. I fixed the lungs of this place. Ines raised a brow. The exosuits. Yeah. They breathe for us when the colony forgets to. She said nothing for a moment, then nodded slowly. I'd like to see your shop. Relo's workshop was a chaotic maze of parts, magnetic gloves, 3D printed ligaments, and piles of old code on paper. Ines picked up one of the scattered sketches. You handwrite your diagnostics. Some things don't speak well to machines. But you do, not really. I talk to suits. They don't interrupt. She looked at him differently after that. They worked side by side for weeks. Ines audited every airlock system, recalibrated power couplings, and silently updated more software than she admitted. Relo showed her how to bypass alarms using harmonic pulses, how to patch leaks with Smarkle, and how to sense when a suit was about to fail just by the way it creaked. One night, deep in the service tunnels, the colony experienced a sudden pressure drop, a breach. Half the ventilation grid shut down. Without thinking, Relo pushed Ines into the reinforced chamber and sealed it from outside. The decompression hit hard. He blacked out. When he woke, he was in medbay, lungs aching. Ines sat beside him, her eyes darker than he remembered. You should have let me fix it, she whispered. You were too valuable, and you weren't. He didn't answer. She leaned closer. You talk to suits like they're people, but you don't see that you're the one who needed saving. You fixed the breach. I rerouted life support. I didn't fix what broke. That was you. He looked at her then, really looked. Her fingers hovered over his chest, not quite touching. I thought I was here to inspect a failing system, she said. But it was a failing connection. This colony forgot how to love its own. And you remembered? I learned from the technician who breathes for it. He reached for her hand. And for the first time in years, Relo felt the air move in his lungs, not just as survival, but as something shared, blueprinted, cherished. The next day, the suits in Bayfer began humming, not malfunctioning. Singing. And nobody mocked it. The ship, known only as Corrales, was more legend than registry entry. It glided into orbit around the joint neutral moon of Myron Hall with no identification, no signal beacon, and no translation grid. But it sang, not with words, never with words, but with harmonics so precise, even silent sensors began to hum back. On the moon's observatory basin, a diplomat-turned-refugee named Venna watched the screen. As the Corrales released a single lifeboat toward the moon's surface, no military formation, no weapons, doesn't mean they're not dangerous, said the technician beside her. Nothing that sings like that comes with war. Venna had lost everything in the last war. A planet, a partner, a belief in treaties. But the song, that was new, that was hope. The lifeboat opened not with hiss or warning, but with a single note. Soft, descending, perfectly tuned. Inside stood a figure cloaked in fibers that shimmered like liquid bronze. Skin marked not with scars or weapons, but with lines of circuitry that pulsed in rhythm to their breathing. Their name, spoken later, would be Darren, but they did not speak first. They bowed, extending a flat triangular device humming with layered resonance. Venna accepted it with hesitation. It was a translator, not of language, of memory. She placed it against her temple. The world shifted. She was not on Myron Hall anymore. She stood on a vessel where everything pulsed with song. The floors sang to the air, the walls hummed to the circuits, and each being aboard moved in tandem to it all. The Corrales did not have crew. It had harmony. And Darren had once been discord. I left because I broke it, Darren said from beside her in the memory space. You can fracture resonance if your heart doesn't match the rhythm. And now I found someone who listened anyway. The vision changed. It was a memory not of song, but of silence. A shipyard. A human with grease-stained fingers and a tool she named Buddy. Tara, Venna whispered. She didn't fix my voice, Darren said. She showed me what silence meant. When Venna removed the translator, the chamber was quiet again. Darren stood, waiting. You want asylum? I want alliance. Venna searched their expression, through sound, through resonance, which never lies. It was a dangerous offer. But Myron Hall had heard nothing but lies for decades. Silence had been safe. It had also been lonely. That night, Venna walked alone through the low-gravity gardens and heard it. Not a recording, not a memory. A song. Real, present. Outside. She followed it. To the old communications tower shut down since the last false treaty. Inside, Darren stood before the primary resonance dish, singing not alone, but in harmony. Beside them, Tara Vex, not aged. Not broken. Smiling. She looked at Venna and said, You always said diplomacy needed better tools. You brought music. I brought truth. The three of them stood before the dish. Darren adjusted a node. Tara tweaked the feedback loop. Venna selected a harmonic code long abandoned by her people. They played. And for the first time in centuries, Myron Hall sent a signal across space, not requesting aid, not declaring independence, but offering invitation. To anyone who still listened. And the stars responded. They sang back. The flagship began to glow, and the galaxy shifted, not because of force, but because someone had finally heard the song and chosen to answer.